definitely we have the superior mesenteric artery that would go along within the large intestine right here as well. Okay, so we spoke about the stomach. All right, so this is called the gastric notch, which is a kind of an angle. So we spoke about the pancreas as well. Now, the pancreas, again, this is the pancreatic duct, and the pancreas would act as an endocrine and an exocrine gland as well, and it would help within the digestion process. Okay, so back again. So we spoke about the jejunum and the terminal ileum. Actually, this is the ileum, and within the last portion of the ileum, we will call it the terminal ileum. Why is it terminal? Because that's the last portion, and eventually this will be opening again within a valve we call the ileocecal valve. So again, this is a muscular valve, and it would open up between the terminal ileum and the cecum. Cecum is the first portion of the large intestine, as we see here. Okay, so I would like just to specify something about the terminal ileum in relation to the stomach itself. Now, keep in mind that HCl is being produced by the fundus of the stomach and the body itself. Now, we have something called the intrinsic factor. Now, this is a factor that's being released from the stomach as well, and that will be passing along within the alimentary tract till it reaches all the way down towards the terminal ileum. Now, the intrinsic factor is very important in vitamin B12 absorption. Now, vitamin B12 absorption takes place at the terminal ileum, but the intrinsic factor is being released outside from it's released into the alimentary tract through the stomach itself. Now, what is the main importance? The main importance is if we have, let's say, cancer of the stomach or a cancer within the terminal ileum, then we might have vitamin B12 now deficiency, and it's called pernicious anemia because the absorption will take place right here within the terminal ileum. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward. So this is the ascending colon of the large intestine. And this segment is called the haustra, or the haustri, Haustra, and just a segment, which is the outpouching of the colon itself. And this is called the teniculi. It's kind of a band-like that's kind of holding the intestine in place as well, and we see that we have lots and lots of fat. Then this is called the transverse colon. All right, so within the transverse colon, now there's an angle right here, and this angle is referred to the liver. Now we call it the flexure. So sometimes we call it the hepatic flexure because it's close to the liver or it's being covered by the liver. And sometimes we call it the right hepatic flexure or just the right flexure of the colon. I like to call it the right hepatic flexure just to be more precise. And if we have a right, we must have a left, and definitely we would have a left splenic flexure because it's close to the spleen. Okay, now we have something called the descending colon, and eventually the descending colon will be kind of an S-shaped. It's called the sigmoid colon, and eventually the sigmoid colon would be opened into the anus or the anal, and that's the outside protrusion of the anus itself. Now keep in mind that we have an anal sphincter as well, and the sphincter is being formed by two different muscles. We have the internal anal sphincter and the external anal sphincter. Now the external anal sphincter is being formed by the skeletal muscles. That indicates as being as voluntarily muscles versus the internal anal sphincter, which will be involuntarily as well. Okay, we kind of skipped through a very important structure too many people kind of ignore. This is called the vermiform appendix, okay, or just the appendix itself. And basically, if we would just bring the intestine over here, Okay, and we kind of flip through here, so we see it right there. Now, the location of the appendix itself is variable from one person to another, which is a normal physiological variant. Okay, well, I'm holding the large intestine in place. So again, this is the small intestine, the inner portion, while it's being surrounded by the large intestine. Okay, now, how is the intestine being supplied? I would say basically it's being supplied initially by the superior mesenteric artery, which would lie on top or superior through the left renal vein. That's a branch, or it's coming, draining the left kidney into the inferior vena cava. So this will pass anteriorly or enter inferiorly, and eventually it will pass and supply the basically the right side of the large intestine. So I would just kind of draw kind of a diagonal view over here, and that's where the superior mesenteric artery is supplying through here. Okay, what about the left side of the colon right here in the small intestine? Basically is being supplied by the inferior mesenteric arteries as well. Okay, what about the veins? What would happen for the veins? Now, the veins will be surrounding the colon, the large and small intestine, and basically the veins will drain again along within the superior and the inferior mesenteric veins, and eventually they will come along and they will enter the liver. Now, keep in mind, we eat and we drink, we take our vitamins, intrinsic factor, we have the proper digestion taking place. Then definitely if we have lipids and fats, then this will be helping within the CCK, which is the cholecystokinin enzymatic secretion that would help with the contractility of the gallbladder. Again, the gallbladder will be contracting its bile that's being stored secondary to the liver. That's where the formation site will take place, and that's where the bile salts will take place, and eventually that would help us absorb nutrients and vitamins. Now, keep in mind that we have vitamin K's being synthesized within the intestine as well. We have lots of fat-soluble vitamins, which is A, D, E, K. Not only that, we have the water absorption. 90% will take place within the small intestine. About 10% will take place within the large intestine. So in other words, the large intestine is kind of a storage form for stool, and to compact the stool as well till we have the proper reflexes. Okay, so I think today we kind of spoke about the gastrointestinal tract briefly, and that's where the momentum is. This is just a cut section right there to show you the pancreas. Hopefully you guys kind of enjoyed our video, and hope that you guys will like our videos. Thank you very much.